What's up, shoemakers? You're welcome back to Pomo Bespoke. We're continuing in our series of courses dealing with how to make this ankle boot. And in the last class, of course, we made the patterns. So you saw the front part and the back part, like you see right there. This particular video is in two parts. The first part, I'll show you how I coupled everything together. And then in the second part, I'll show you how to create the high heel insole, which is, of course, something that my friend Shalom has already done, and I'll link a much more detailed video of how that is done in the description. But this is me implementing the things that he taught in his own video. You stitch the vamp in the same way you stitch the lining. There's no the pattern for the vamp and the pattern for the lining are exactly the same things, only that in the case of the lining, what would have been the folding allowance is just left on top there as extra, whereas on the upper you fold it just to have so that I don't have raw edges. So I fold it, and then of course in aligning the lining, oh, that rhymes. In aligning the lining to the upper, you take care to ensure that it actually is very centralized. So as you can see, it's centralized. The seam in the middle is such that we don't have to start going into the process of springing the vamp and crimping. Just to keep the class fast-paced and straightforward, we avoided all of that. Now let's take a look at this back part. So you see that in stitching the upper part of the counter region, the back part, I stopped about 1 cm to the terminal point so that I can have something to open up to, and then it will slot into the front part of the pattern that way. So I'll trim this excess you find at the side of the front part and then stitch it in this way. So this is how the boot will open when all of it is stitched up, and that is our upper complete and well done. I'm not going into the nitty-gritty of how to close uppers. That is something for another class. This is a high heels class, so we're going to just focus on the things that are related to making of high heels. If of course you're interested in upper procedure, skiving, folding and all whatnot, I have several videos on the point that you can check out in the class. My friend Shalom has already dealt extensively with how to construct the insole of your high heel shoes. So basically I'm deploying the technique that he popularized. So basically cut out the pattern of your insole, bend your shank into shape to follow the last that you're using, and then basically glue that shank to your the flimsy part of your insole, and then glue on the half of that onto the back side, and then finish off with a full cut out pattern of the insole. All of that I'm just going to do here so that we can get done with this part. So you guys buckle up, we still have a lot to do, we still have a lot to cover. So let's just finish this part about the insole. By the way, if you've not seen the very good detailed video that Shalom did on how to create insole for high heel shoes, I'll link it in the description, so go and check it out. But everything that was done in that video is what I am deploying right here and now in creating the insole of my own high heel ankle boots. So ladies and gentlemen, still a lot to be done, but let's get through with this part and then we'll head on there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, while I was filming this part, I didn't know I wasn't recording, and I missed quite a lot of footage. So, but you know, I had already created the insole for that ankle boot, so I decided to show you guys with another pair of last. So this is exactly what Shalom was discussing in his video. You have to factor in how far the shank goes from the base of the heel, so that you're able to identify where your screw holes will go into the insole itself, so that you don't have misaligned heels when you finally create your insole. So all of that calculation, all of that really have to be factored in right from when you are creating the insole. So as you can see, I'm marking out how the distance on the base of the insole. So I marked that in there. I marked it in again on the second base of the insole. So having marked that in, it means that by the time I place my shank onto that base, it will correspond to what I really have going into the heel, so that by the time I'm putting in the screws, everything will just be properly aligned. So the middle part of the insole is what I am gluing right here. So I glue the shank to the base of the insole. Then I'm going to now glue that base of the insole. I like to work from outside in. So I glue that base to the middle part. Now I forgot to mark in the holes before I glued the base, so I'm using the second shank to, you know, guess where my holes should be. But by the time I'm constructing the one for this other feet, the left feet, I won't make that mistake. So when you are doing yours, be sure not to make that mistake as well. So let me show you how I corrected myself in not making the mistake. Let's see that the heel is properly aligned. So you see that if we mark it there and check where the holes fall, they fall within where the screw can catch the heel and hold it in place properly. So this is what I should have done the first time. So once you glue the shank to the base of the insole, you punch in your pilot holes. So I punch in those pilot holes and then glue that base to the middle layer of the insole. So I basically glued this one in, and then using the holes that I had done previously at the back, I am able to, of course, you know, tack it down so that it holds in properly. You see that those holes appear, and then by the time you glue in the third layer, of course I added some excess material all around it so that by the time I'm done I can trim to the appropriate size, which is a basic craft technique. Just add a little wiggle room extra so that you can trim things around. So by the time you finished gluing all of the parts together, you now have pilot holes that will indicate to you where your screws go into. This is actually not the heel for this particular last. It's a little bit, I think, about 1 cm shorter. Now this is the heel that goes with it, and you can see that it stands firm, it stands unshaken. When you add the last, it doesn't tip over, the heel spring is okay, and everything is just as I want it to be. So ladies and gentlemen, that's what I wanted to share with you. You guys go ahead and create your own insoles and create your own shoes out of them. Until I see you in the next class, God bless you.